rather have Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson.
You're looking at possibly fight of the year there.
Adam loves talking shit, and just like other Eagles fans, he loves eating shit. Oral Roberts plus 15.5.
Double Jack and Coke.
And I was
whatever we can get our hands on, we were drinking it.
Hooting and hollering all kinds of profanities and ruining the experience of the people around me. Welcome back to Right Hand, Left Hand. It is Friday, May 21st, 2021. We got the second part of our two-part show this week. We interviewed Emmanuel Ribeiro yesterday, and today we are interviewing Keith K.O. Kid Berry for the second week in a row. He's going to talk a little bit about the crash in the cryptocurrency market, and he's also going to break down the UFC 262 main event and what happened with Charles Oliveira finishing Michael Chandler. We've also got UFC Vegas 27 coming up this Saturday. Rob Font and Cody Garbrandt are going to headline that. So before we get to Keith, let's go ahead and make our picks on that main event. Josh, who you got?
Yeah, man, I've been going back and forth on this one. I'm really excited about this fight, though. You know, Rob Font showed so much improvement in his last fight, knocking out Marlon Moraes, and just looked phenomenal in that fight. Is really on a tear. And then, you know, you got Cody trying to get title shots at the 125 and 135 division. So this is a big fight for both those guys. I definitely see somebody probably getting finished in this fight. You know, we'll see. I think Cody's got the speed and maybe the power advantage in this one. And what I've been hearing is, you know, Cody doesn't walk around that big for that weight class either for 135. Apparently he walks around like at 147. Which is, you know, cutting 9 pounds to get down there. That's nothing for him. I'm pretty sure Cody's the underdog in this fight as well. If I'm not, or I think it's like a almost even money.
So he's a little bit of an underdog. I think it opened at even money. Rob Font is right now about minus 120 at the book that I use, and Cody Garbrandt is plus 100.
Cody being an underdog is big. The thing that worries me is that if he goes into like that almost fight or flight situations that he does with, just tries to go in there and just get into a war with him and not be
right.
So more technical that he can be, like that he showed against Dominic Cruz. But if you see him go in there like he did with Pedro Munez or TJ Dillashaw, it's not going to go his way. And Rob Font could make it that fight. You know, Rob Font could frustrate Cody and try to get him to bait him into something like that. And for me, I think Rob Font gets done. I think we have a new title contender in that division. I think him and, you know, Corey Sandhagen will be a great fight, or TJ, you know, even whoever wins that fight as well, because that division is stacked right now. That's behind the lightweights. You know, that's a tough division.
Yeah, it is a really exciting division. I also agree that Cody has a tendency to just start trying to wade through the opponent's jab and just, like you said, start a war and start throwing haymakers. So I think from a gambling perspective, there's actually Cody Garbrandt by knockout is actually a potential play in there. I think either Cody Garbrandt by knockout or Rob Font money line are your plays from a gambling perspective. I am tempted to go Cody Garbrandt just to fade you for the purposes of our picks, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I think, like you said, Rob Font's just a little more of a technical boxer. He's also got a longer reach, so if Cody tries to wade through the jab there, I don't know how much success he'll have, and I think Rob Font is going to get it done either second or third round finish or just by decision. So that's why I like Rob Font on the money line, or Cody to get lucky and get a knockout there. So you're not going to pick up a pick on me this week. I'm going Rob Font as well. We can pick the Shabazian and Hermansson fight. I told you before we hopped on here, I like Shabazian. Are you willing to go out and pick Hermansson in that fight?
I am. I like Hermansson in that one. I actually picked Hermansson. I'm going to have him a couple of my DraftKings lineups. But I do like Shabazian. I think he's like at 7,000 or 770 for like your salary cap in there. But I do love that. Like, I love all the underdogs on this card, essentially. You know, the Codys, the Shabazian, and then there's one more I can't think off the top of my head. But, you know, this should be a good fight card in general. I think there's going to be a lot of good fights, especially coming off that big card we just had.
Well, we've had several fights pushed either from UFC 262 or from the fight night the previous week that have been, and even the previous week before that, this Norma Dumont is fighting Felicia Spencer. So I actually picked Norma Dumont a couple of weeks back in my Lopez Locks segment, which Drafting with Sparks and Lopez Locks both going to be coming out today as well. So some good value on Norma Dumont at plus 167. I like that pick.
The last one I couldn't think of was Carla Esparza at 7,600.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see her definitely, out wrestling. Was it Yang? Yeah. I can't remember how you say her name.
I didn't even try to pronounce it's Yan. It's Xiaonan Yan. I didn't even really try to pronounce it earlier when we were talking before we.
Them Chinese names, man, they get me every time. Wei Li Zhang is the only one that I can really pronounce well.
I mean, it's just a totally different language structure and like pronunciation and stuff. So, it's okay to not be able to pronounce every person's name that's from a different country and speaks a different language than you, but just do the best you can. That's all we got to do. But all right, so we at least made one different pick. So we'll see if Josh can make up. He made up one spot on me last week. Josh, you're 19 and 15. I'm 21 and 13. So let's go ahead and get to Keith, and Keith will give us his pick for the Rob Font Cody Garbrandt pick as well. All right, we are back for the second week in a row with Keith KO Kid Berry. Thanks for being on with us again, Keith. How you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. I'm all prepared this time, and I'm ready to go. Ready to talk about some fighting and some crypto.
Yeah, and rocking that Grow Packer shirt too.
Yep, digging that.
Grow Packer.
You have to get us some of those, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I know. I need it. I have your guys' addresses. I still need to send out your care package. I had my mom do it, so I'm gonna make her send it out next week because I have everything ready. So
nice. But before we talk about the main event, what did you think about Tony, man? That heel hook. I know you know Tony, so.
Yeah, I feel bad for him on that. That was a tough
Rough.
one. He went through the whole fight with that, just still using it. I
tough.
feel like it's gonna take some time to recover, but there's something about Tony. He just looks kind of different right now. Like he looks like something he might need to take a little time to, I don't know, recover or something. I don't know if he just time caught up to him a little bit. That's what kind of a lot of people were saying. I don't really like that. I don't like that saying because a lot of guys and they can grapple and they can make that happen. But freaking Beneil had a great game plan. He took him down. He used his grappling and he made it a boring kind of grappling match. And he would have finished that heel hook on anyone else, in my opinion.
Oh no, yeah,
absolutely. And going back, I know you say you don't like the father time thing. I think he trains too hard. I think he just wears himself out.
It's almost mental, it seems like.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the same like pep in his step. I don't know how to explain it, and it might be mental. It might be a little mix of everything, But I think he should take some steps back and kind of look at everything and reflect. And he probably should train a little less and maybe focus on different things. Take some off days, let his body recover. I mean, the guy knows how to fight. He knows so many different martial arts. So all it would be is like tuning his body with where he's at right now, with his age. And he probably has some injuries on him, man. I still have injuries, and Tony's had way more fights than me and been training longer time consistently. So, I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, and I think that Justin Gaethje war just really took it out of him after that fight. I mean, I just think that was just a career changing point for him.
Yeah, I mean, I love Tony, and I'm like on his boat all the time, but I feel like it might be the last one of the last times we might see him, or we might see him again. But I just don't. So who's he gonna be? And all the main guys have kind of already beat him, and that's what there was that thrill that I don't know. So I just think I think he should probably start thinking about hanging it up soon.
Well, it's just for me and just watching Tony come up through the Ultimate Fighter, it's just sad, man, because I really wanted to see him fight Khabib.
I know.
I mean, that was one that I was like, I think Tony can do it, man. I think he can beat Khabib, and it's just one of those things that just never happened. I mean, 5 times we can't get it,
Yeah, that's like a cursed fight. It's so strange.
But I do have to gloat a little bit to you guys because I was the only one that picked Charles Oliveira.
Here we go.
That was a crazy first round, right?
I mean, you had
Holy
to, I
shit.
was totally shocked at the way the second round, like, I thought Chandler was on his way to a second round finish and things just turned so quickly. I mean, were you as surprised as I was how quickly Oliveira got his shit together and just cracked Chandler in the second round?
I feel like Oliveira wasn't really tired the second round. He was still in it, and I feel like Chandler was tired. He was just a little step behind him, and he just got that left hook. And once he was tired and he got hit hard, he couldn't recover. I saw that that look on his face, and he just finished him like a killer. You know, it was Oliveira was on point. You know, and congrats to him. He was so happy. He had like this like crying like picture where he's almost crying, and he has the belt. It's pretty amazing. You know, I'm actually really happy for him, and he's been a gamer for years. And even though I really wanted Chandler to win, but it was like one of those moments, like, oh, you know, bitter and sweet. You feel bad for Chandler, but then he was so humble in defeat too. I mean, he took that really well, and I think he's going to be in the UFC for a while. I think he'll be fine. You know.
Oh yeah, and you know, it's like we were saying earlier. You know, I think it's just good. I wanted Chandler to win too. Don't get me wrong. But to see just the joy for Oliveira, it made it bittersweet as well. You know, I think a lot of people, even people pulling for Chandler, thought the same thing. You know, going 28 fights in the UFC and then finally getting your world championship, and that's something special to say.
Yeah, for sure. No, he's been around. He's done a lot, and I think he's going to be a cool champion. I think there's going to be some good fights. I think he's going to, you know, defend for a couple times, and there's going to be some good fights coming up. So the 155 division is stacked.
Oh, sure. So stacked. Well, and that's the thing that kind of sucks is I'd like to see Chandler, you know, if he can beat another guy or two, get another shot at it. But there's just so many guys there at the top of that division that I don't know if or when that's gonna happen. So we'll see what plays out with that. Did you see the party they were throwing Oliveira down there in Brazil?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh man, you got to look up the videos. They had him on top of a fire truck, and he was riding down the street dancing on top of the fire truck. And there's people on motorcycles, like revving their motorcycles and all that stuff. It's pretty sweet. You got to check out the video. It's all over.
That's amazing. That's a really, really cool story for him, and it's really going to change his. I mean, not that it wouldn't have changed Chandler's life too. It's probably life changing for both of them, but there's going to be a lot of impact, I think, for Oliveira. You know, he's just gonna. That's really cool for him, man. You know, I know what it feels like to win big fights. Nothing near that big, but I mean, holy shit, he's probably just gonna feel like in cloud nine for months, you know, from that fight.
Absolutely.
So, super cool.
You know, and you know, before we get to talk a little crypto with you, you know, I think what you do with Chandler is give him Gaethje.
Those guys are very similar. That would be a good fight. It would be a good one.
And I think, you know, they're both coming off title losses. I think that's a great matchup for those guys. And then,
those guys are
you know,
similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Gaethje's a monster. I think he gives Chandler a lot of problems in that fight, though, especially with the leg kicks, because it looked like Oliveira hurt Chandler pretty early on with those leg kicks.
Yep, I agree.
So Keith, man, what's going on with the crypto crash today? I was reading up a little bit about it. Today is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, and crypto markets have been crashing up to like 30% overnight from yesterday. Now, prices, I guess, were starting to decline in a lot of places starting sort of last week when Elon Musk announced that Tesla wasn't going to take Bitcoin for as a payment form after initially saying that they were going to. And then the Chinese government barred financial industries, or expanded their regulations, I guess, on financial industries and their ability to accept cryptocurrency as, you know, as a form of payment. So have you been hurt by this? Do you think this is a buying opportunity? Just what do you think is going on here?
I think it's kind of like a perfect storm with all these things happening, the Elon tweet and then the ban in China, like you said, inflation. People are just like, there's a lot of FUD out there right now for a lot of things. But, you know, I feel like it is a buying opportunity. I mean, dude, trust me, it still does hurt. It's like, God damn it. But these are unrealized gains. Like my portfolio, when it was at the highest it's been, they're unrealized gains. I haven't cashed out. So I have to know that sometimes I'm thinking, oh, it's going to keep going up. But it's natural that things go up and then things go down.
Absolutely.
So I'm not too worried about it. I think it was a perfect storm. It's kind of shitty. All these things happened at once, and I'm hoping that this will just be like a correction, and then we're gonna finish off the bull market, and then kind of push strong through the end of this year. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see. Either way, I'm just gonna hold. You know, I don't need the money. All the money that I have invested, I don't need it. So I'm not gonna try to paper hand and cash out and try to move it around or anything. I'm just gonna hold. I've bought a couple other little things. I really haven't bought that much because I bought so much over the weekend. And I'm like, shit. And then it like crashed yesterday. So or today. Yesterday and today actually.
Yeah.
So it was worse. This morning when I woke up, I wake up pretty early. I woke up at like 5:50 and I was like, all right, don't look at it. Don't even look at it. Start stretching. I do like a run in the morning. And I was like, no, I'm going to look a little bit. I looked and like my shit was down. Like everything was down. I was like, it was like the worst time to look. It was like 5:50 in the morning and it was down like crazy. But
I thought I saw you tweet that out because I get up early too. So, and then and the 3 hour difference too. So I'm up at, it's like 8 o'clock here for me. So I saw you tweet that out and I was like, damn, he must have been pissed if he's going running. Cause I know you hate cardio.
yeah, I was like, fuck, man, I got like amped up and I have to like calm myself down and like have this whole conversation with myself. And then I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go run this off. And, you know, it was better. It was productive. And I have conviction in all the things I have bought. So I'm just going to stick where I am and I'm going to hold. Nothing has changed from last week till today, but these minor little like inflation, I already knew that was coming. Elon, he always does stuff like this. And then China ban, I mean, they did this, didn't they do this like 3 years ago? I mean,
yeah, so
China,
they initially
they
banned it like 3 years ago, and then they just expanded the ban to like include more things, basically.
So what they're going to probably do, they're going to probably make their own coin, their own type of cryptocurrencies, right, with their own banks, and then that's why they're doing that. And the same thing with India. So I don't know. It's just interesting what everyone in all these, some countries are adopting. I don't remember which ones were, but we're completely like Cardano in Africa. They're really trying to adopt cryptocurrencies to save their economic situation. So I mean, there's so many different things happening in the world, and it's weird how these more like, I don't know, like, I mean, China is a communist country, right? And they're just being more, you know.
They want to control it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They want to have their way or no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. They see that everyone else, I mean, in America, we're still being taxed on crypto, but I guess we're not being taxed enough in China, or they're not being taxed enough in China. So that's why they want to ban it. Because if it was making them a lot of money, I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't want to ban it, right? But I think they see it as a threat to their system in general. So then they're like, oh no, just ban it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so authoritarian. They just like to have control over everything over there. And so you mentioned that there's countries like you mentioned Africa trying to basically use crypto to try and help their own economic situation. How does that help? Is it just because it's not sensitive to the, like, there's like a limited supply of it? That's the whole idea behind cryptocurrency. So it's not like sensitive to the potential inflation and irresponsible government. Is that the idea there?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know all the information on what they have with Cardano Africa. I think it's not the whole Africa. It's actually a country within the continent Africa. I don't know which one, but I think their whole idea behind it is that whatever dollar that they're behind or whatever their government is using for fiat money is so inflated and so gone. They want to try to adopt Cardano or something like that has a level playing field, and people are trying to adopt it and basically donate. And I don't know, it's just interesting because you have a country like that that's in dire straits, and then you have like China. They're pretty well off. China, I mean, they're a superpower in the world, so
Right.
They're more authoritarian and they're trying to ban it. And then you have another country in Africa that is trying to adopt it because they're so hurt financially, so they're trying to recover from it. So it's just funny how different countries are using it different ways. The U.S. is kind of free in the U.S., right? So we kind of were allowed to trade cryptos, and I think New York has like a ban on it or something. But most states in the United States are allowed to, you know, trade crypto freely. So it's just kind of interesting to see which people decide to choose it in the world, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I know you sent me one of the things on Twitter, one of those groups, and I sat there and listened to it for a little bit. You know, I'm still learning. I have no clue. Like ever since you brought it up, I was like, well, let me try and learn a little bit of this so I know what I'm talking about. But and they were talking about this was, I think it was Saturday, so I guess before everything happened, or Sunday, maybe it was Sunday morning. I'm not sure. But they were talking about how, you know, don't get scared, like you're saying, like hold on to your stuff. You know, it happens. It's just like the real estate market here in North Carolina right now. It's a seller's market. Eventually, it'll become a buyer's market. It happens. Everything comes around in circles and full circles. You know, I do have to ask. I see you've been running a lot. I see you've been biking a lot. Are we going to get a fight soon?
I don't know. I was supposed to have a fight in Germany at the end of June. So, and I haven't heard anything from that. And I've been hitting him up and just no reply. So I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of years that I had like this intuition about like, I'm going to get this big fight offer, because I get these like random fight offers that are pretty cool. And, but it's like a week's notice or 2 week notice because, you know, I'll be filling in for somebody. So those are the kind of opportunities that I would love to take and be in really great shape, and then, you know, upset some guy and then make a little money and just kind of like ride off that and maybe get another fight and kind of just, yeah, I still have some fights in my tank. So I'm actively looking. I'm kind of like, I would want to fight. I don't want to fight a new up and comer. I'd rather fight another guy that's more like a veteran that has like some clout, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah, because
maybe.
I mean, you've had some big fights, man. I've seen you fought Joe Schilling. You know, that's a big name right there in himself.
I'd like to get some fights. I should have won that fight.
I know. I watched it recently the other day too.
Yeah, I was actually, not to make, because there's an excuse for every camp, but I actually got sick about a month before, and then I kind of just fought anyway and kind of recovered. But I remember in the third round on the Joe Schilling fight, just thinking I'm really good with this mounted triangle from mount, and I mounted him in the first like maybe 2 minutes.
Yep.
So I was like thinking in my head, I was like, you know what, I should go for a mounted triangle and try to finish this. It was the third round. I was like, they're not going to give me the fucking decision. And then I'm like, and another voice was like, I'm just going to wait it out. I'm just going to like stay on top and do some damage. And then right when I said that, he bucked and turned me over and fucking just elbowed the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So then I feel like that stole that round, and it was more like a 10-8 round. And then they were already on his fucking nuts before that. So it was like, I wasn't going to win the decision. It was in my hometown in Temecula too. So it kind of stung. I would love to get that fight back.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. I think you definitely could win that fight. I really do.
I should have just, I don't know why I respected him too much. I have hands. I should have thrown more hands. I should have mixed my hands up with my takedowns and everything and like been the whole game. Instead, I used my hands a little and then went right to takedown. And I don't know. I should have ground and pounded more. I mean, it was one of those fights where I was just like, I was basically trying to eke out a win, and it wasn't what I should have just been trying to kill the guy. And I blame it because I was just a little down because I was fucking sick. But I would love to get that fight again. I won 2 fights after that. So if I won maybe 2 more, that'd be a little 4-fight win streak. And then could be a good fight to win. But I don't know if he's fighting right now. He might have retired.
I think he did. I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything. I don't think I've seen anything since that fight.
How hard is it when you're actually out there fighting, right? You're in the octagon or you're in the ring, and you kind of talked about this when you were talking about the Schilling fight a second ago, where you pause for 1 second to decide what you wanted to do, and next thing you know, he's bucking you off and catching you with an elbow, right? So how difficult is that to think through and sort of plan on your feet when you're actually in there fighting?
Yeah, sometimes you just got to go with the flow and make good decisions fast. And I feel like my first thought was the best thought, and I should have just went with that. I second guessed myself, and I said, no, I'm just gonna stay on top and try to hold this position. And then he basically swept me. You know, he did like a buck. It was like a muscle man buck, and I was tired. I wasn't based out enough, and then he swept me. So. I feel like my first instinct was right. I could have got that triangle and then finished it. The guy has no fucking jiu-jitsu, and he's a Muay Thai guy. I should have just done it because I get that submission with a lot of guys and in the room, a lot of high level guys in Vegas. I've got it on. People aren't ready for it because I'm kind of a bigger guy, and it's kind of like a finessey, almost like a small guy move. But I don't know, it works good. So next time, anytime, just never hesitate. It was a hesitation, and I paid for it. So hats off to Joe, and he's kind of a dickhead though. Like afterward, I saw him a couple different places. He just kind of thinks he's like really fucking cool, But
His shit don't stink, huh?
yeah, he acts like that. I see him places, and like one of my sponsors, it's a marijuana farm. It's called Elite Garden. They're in Santa Barbara, and the owner, I'm always hanging out with him. He's a Muay Thai guy, and he used to be like a fan of Schilling, and he said hi a couple times, and Joe would literally just like ignore us.
Oh, that's the worst.
It's just like whatever, he thinks he's too good sometimes. But.
I give him credit for his Muay Thai background in kickboxing, but come on, man, you're like 4-3 in MMA.
I know that's why it sucks I lost to him.
All right, you heard it here first. Get over yourself, Joe Schilling.
Yeah, fuck.
Now, I saw this on the internet, and it appears that you have been filmed fighting with Machine Gun Kelly for a music video. Is that true? Is that a rumor? What am I seeing when I see that on the internet?
Oh, it's funny. Yeah. So I used to be like managed by this company in LA. They used to just fill me in for different like music videos and all this stuff. So I guess they had like an opening for me to fight this rapper. And I was like, okay. This was like in 2015. So I was like, all right, who's this rapper? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, it pays $1,000. You'll have fun. You'll be there all day. He smokes weed. You like weed? I was like,
okay.
All right. So I thought it was going to be a black guy. And then I got there and it was just like this tall white guy. And I was like, he's all tatted up. And then they're like, yeah, this is MGK. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I kind of listened to his music and I got more into it. I actually like his music. It's kind of cool. And he's actually a talented guy. He's kind of more like mainstream kind of. But he has a cool, he's like a pop star. He's like a rock guy. And then he raps. He's kind of like multi-talented. I did do a music video. It was like a full-fledged like fight video with me and him, like Snatch style. I don't know if you've seen that movie Snatch with like bare knuckle boxers.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the guy playing the Snatch that basically knocked me out at the end of us fighting the whole time. But it was cool. We smoked weed all day. I mean, they hooked me up, and they're super nice people. I actually lost contact with that manager, so I haven't got any offers since then. But no, Machine Gun Kelly, he's cool. He hooked me up a bunch of weed. They paid me good. It was a cool gig. It has like tons of views on YouTube, so it was fun.
Well, Keith, we won't keep you much longer, but I do want to try and get you, even if we can try and get you any type of fight or even a boxing match or something soon, man. We got to see you back in the octagon or ring soon, man.
I've been kind of running and getting my first thought when I think about fighting and fighting in general is, since I was in wrestling in high school, whenever I would lose my matches, it's because I was too tired. Because I would go so hard. I have really good explosive strength, but then I'd get tired. So then I really adopted running. And my first thing to do when I really want to seriously think about fighting is I just run. I run and I get in that really good running shape. If I get to like 60 to 80 miles a month and I'm running like sub 8-minute miles, and then I'm probably in pretty good shape. My weight's good and I can move good. I could react good. And then I could probably win some fights. So
now,
that's my first thought.
Are we going to see you at middleweight or light heavyweight?
I want to fight this Marco Deckman guy that I fought in a boxing match. So I might just get some smaller boxing matches here in Desert Hot Springs or fucking Indio over here, and might get some small boxing matches over here, and then go to Hollywood and fight Marco Deckman. He's like one of Freddie Roach's guys. He's from Germany. He's a nice kid, but I kind of fought him last minute, didn't train enough. I feel like I'm saying this about all my fights. It's another fight I'd like to get back, but him and Joe Schilling are number one on my list.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I tried to reach out to Marco Deckman to try and get him on the show too. I haven't got a response yet, but I wanted it, that way, we can get on the same page and maybe get that fight for you.
Hype it up.
That would be cool. Yeah. I know who to reach out to. They actually asked me to go spar with them, and they asked my girlfriend, and I'm like, my girlfriend's like mushroom guy knows him, and I was like, what the fuck? And it's just like it made me more mad. I wanted to run more and get in good shape, and I was
Right.
like, then she knows that like he kicked my ass one time, so I'm like, now I'm like, fuck.
Now
But-
we got to fight.
Yeah. So I already wanted to get that fight back. So I feel like life is just showing me what I want, and I want
Right.
that fight back. So I'm like, I should probably follow those signs. And it's fun. I love boxing. Boxing, it's easier in a sense, but then it's like very, very. It's like you really have to focus on this one art and get deep into it. Versus sometimes MMA could be more difficult because you're doing jiu-jitsu, you're doing wrestling, you're doing this, you got this game plan, he might do this, he might do that. I mean, boxing, he has two fucking hands, you have two hands.
That's it.
You know what you like to do, you know what he was gonna, it's a little more precise and easier to train for, I feel like. And I just feel like Marco Deckman knocks me out in front of my mom, and I'd like to knock him out in front of his family. So I mean, that sounds harsh, but
You're a fighter, man.
That's all fair right there.
It's a fight game. It's
Yeah.
all it's all love.
You're not in to make friends.
No.
All right, Marco Deckman, you've been called out. Joe Schilling, get the fuck over yourself. Keith, we'll get you out of here on that note. We really appreciate you, man. Real quick before you do, make sure everybody you follow Keith on Instagram and Twitter at KOKid951. We don't need any analysis on this if you don't want to get as much into it or as little into it as you want. But who do you got this weekend, Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt?
I'm gonna go with Cody because he's probably an underdog and he follows me on Twitter and I just like his fight style. So
All right, Cody Garbrandt it is. We appreciate it.
And one more thing I want to mention is I'm really happy. Dana White, I mentioned like accept Doge for the UFC tickets, and I did all this shit. And after all that, Dana didn't unfollow me, so we're okay.
Nice.
There we go. Keith has survived the shitstorm of tweets about
Nice.
Dogecoin, which, by the way, Josh did point out to me that I immediately called it Doggy Coin after you told me that it was Dogecoin last week. So not the first time. Not the first time I've looked like an idiot. It won't be the last. So sorry to the Doge fans out there. And again, we appreciate you, Keith.
Thanks, Keith,
no worries.
man.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys
Absolutely,
so much.
brother.
I appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
You too,
You too.
man.
Take it easy, boss.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Follow us on social media at RHLH Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, and keep an eye out for new content on Facebook and YouTube every Thursday and Friday.